There we go. Well, great. Anything else to add, Annette?
No, that's it. Thanks.
Cool. Well, thank you. And did we miss anybody else? All right. We'll assume that we got everybody. So I'll give a couple of highlights and updates on the Entrepreneur Awards, and then give me 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll shut up and let's certainly talk about it, ask any questions. So I think a couple of things. I think all of you know now it's planned. We've planned the award ceremony for the same time on June 8th. So starting at 5:30, we'd open the doors. We'd go to, we have the facility till 9, but the awards themselves would probably be over by 8:30. There'll be good social time in that. There'll be the awards ceremony itself will probably be this year about an hour and a half. And the first part of the awards ceremony will be a new feature, which should be a lot of fun. And it's going to be a panel discussion with our Lifetime Achievement Award winners. And this is the first year that we're recognizing Lifetime Achievement Award winners. And just so you understand the process we went through to identify these folks, we identified about 20 nominators through the state. That included people that are running some of the largest industry associations, some of the people that are running some of the largest chambers, folks that are leading the different innovation hubs throughout Connecticut, and they became our nominators, and we gave them some specific criteria, but essentially looking for people who had been an entrepreneur in Connecticut for at least 20 years and had either had some really good exits or developed at least one business, if not multiple, that had massive economic impact or strong economic impact. And that ultimately were good stewards of the idea of entrepreneurship and entrepreneur development in Connecticut. They didn't necessarily have to be altruistic, but at least represented us well. And so we got in about 30 nominations, all very, very strong people, and it was a really good process. Those nominations went to judges, 5 judges that were spread all around the country, actually one even international. And over the course of 2 weeks, they gave us their feedback on specific criteria. And so I am happy to announce, and I think I shared these on email. If I didn't, you'll know them now. These, just so you know, have not been shared publicly. The winners know, because we want them to come to the awards. But and I may not pronounce her name correctly, but we have April Lukasic from Bright and Early Learning Centers. And if you don't know anything about Bright and Early Learning Centers, I didn't. Look them up. They're an incredible organization. She's done amazing work. We have Steve Schwartz from Device 42. And again, an amazing entrepreneur, has developed a really, really cool company. And then Bob Dorff, who probably many of you know, he's not only developed some amazing companies, but he, along with Steve Blank, about 15 years ago, wrote the Startup Entrepreneurs Manual. The Startup Owners Manual. And that's like in, I don't know, 20 or 30 languages. And he represents Connecticut all over the world. He's been doing so for quite a while, speaking about entrepreneurship. So we've got a first class, I think, that will do us proud, and I think this will continue to grow each year. So when you think of the continuum of entrepreneurs that we have in the room, we'll have everything from early stage startups all the way through to highly mature, highly successful entrepreneurs, and I think we'll have the whole continuum represented. And I think, as most of you know, we don't reveal the winners in other than this Lifetime Achievement Awards, which is totally unique, in any of the other categories until the awards themselves. And, and as you can imagine, we get emails. I've been getting them probably at least a few a week with when will you release, when will you let us know if we won? But, part of the goal here, and we really have three goals. One is to shine a bright light on the entrepreneurs who are doing cool work in the state. Another is to get all the cool kids in one room. And by being a little bit coy in terms of the results, it's amazing how many people show up to see if they won. And ultimately we do that. Our ulterior motive is to get them to collide. And there's only so much we can do virtually. And the third is to create a legacy so that the next generation has an easier time navigating the process. And so that's part of the strategy in terms of this Lifetime Achievement Awards, is to have these sort of beacons out there for the next generations to be able to learn from their lessons. And the panel discussion we're going to do, it'll be brief. It'll be, say, 15 or 20 minutes, but it'll be focused on sort of lessons learned. What do you wish you knew then that you know now? Those types of things that will help that next generation navigate better. So, our goal again is to have the awards and to do that on June 8th. We'll be nimble. I think, there are a variety of strategies. If we have to, we could always go virtual. That is the least preferred. We could also defer to the fall. The challenge with the facility is that it's not air conditioned. So if we wanted to do it during the summer, we would just probably have to find another facility. So not impossible, but anyway, we've got I think a variety of things, but unfortunately, none of us has a crystal ball to know exactly what the next 2 months is going to look like. But the good news is we have 60 days for this to, or actually about 70 days, 75 days for this to ideally get to a more manageable space. So I'll shut up and, questions, comments, thoughts. If you're speaking, you're on mute. Well, I couldn't have been that complete, or I put everybody to sleep, one or the other.
Bill, this is Mike Rohr. Any thought to trying to do this virtually?
Yeah, I mean, that's an alternative, certainly, and we certainly could, and I think we could make it. We could do a lot, and we actually brainstormed on this in our house last night, and we thought some fun ideas. So, yeah, I think we'll want to start looking at all the options, whether whether we look to do something fun and interesting virtually, or we just defer a few more months and hope for the best. So does anyone have thoughts in terms of
has anybody talked to Pratt and Whitney since all this went down? And is
certainly
there a chance, even if everybody's allowed to come back together, that they're just not going to want a few hundred people coming on site?
Yeah, so they have, even before the state did its restrictions, they had already restricted down to, I think, no more than group sizes of 50, and obviously now they're probably even smaller than that. But they very much want us on site, and they're very happy to defer it to a time when it's safe to do so, and all that. But my sense is they'll be a bit more restrictive than the state will, just because they can be a bit more. So yeah, I think it's really up to us as to what we value most in terms of getting, kind of recognizing people and creating a way for that attention to happen, or deferring long enough that we can get people in the room. And so I think we have to kind of go through that calculus, and I definitely want to hear as many suggestions or thoughts on that as people have. And it's not a simple formula, I guess, to sort of decide
How
you know,
were
at what point is too long. What's
how
the
were
time?
ticket sales doing up until postponing?
They had been going really well. Yeah, no, we were ahead. And one of the cool things we were seeing is people buying actually fairly good sized groups of tickets. So people bringing friends and family or coworkers and whatnot. So no, it was all, I think, all very positive. I'd say we were probably tracking ahead of previous years fairly well. So
Great.
yeah, which you know, speaks, I think, whether we do it, you know, virtually or in or in person this year, it speaks really well for, you know, what next year can look like too. So we've been building quite a bit year over year, so it's all good.
Well, you would think. I mean, and I'm hoping this for my co-working business is that once the mandates lift, that everybody's going to be dying to get back out and doing things socially again. So hopefully that'll bode well for June 8th.
Right. Yeah. When you think of after, so the probably the smartest thing I've seen in terms of somebody creating a metaphor around this has been, I was watching, I don't know if any of you watched Joe Rogan's podcast or listened to it, but he really has some of the best guests. But he was talking to this guy who was an infectious disease expert, internationally known guy, and he said, you know, kind of the way most of us are probably envisioning, you know, the coronavirus is like a winter storm. And he said, you know, where you're kind of locked inside for a couple of days. He said, you're probably better off to envision this like a bad winter, where you're locked inside for a month or a couple months. And so you think of after a bad winter, the thing you want to do is get out in the sunshine as quickly as you can. So I think you're absolutely right, Tony. I think there'll be that kind of rebound. So, but obviously we have to do it in a safe way. So, other thoughts, comments?
Yeah, Bill, it's Billy Grant here.
Hmm.
You know, just my personal take on it. You know, thinking about what the mission of the organization is in terms of recognition and bringing those shakers and movers together. Personally, I feel we lose so much of that power and that meat if we go virtual. You know, there's no doubt in the world that we live in today, and for businesses that continue to operate, you can do things online, and you know that's great. And you know, with my business needs to continue to move forward. My clients need me now more than ever. So, you know, the virtual meeting has to happen. But I think for us, if we have the ability to delay, I think we should always try to take that option first. But I also get the no air conditioning. You know, I know I was wearing a suit at the last event and I was hot at the last event and there was air conditioning. So I don't want to, you know, smoke everyone out, but maybe something in the fall or, you know, would
You
make
could change the dress code to be appropriate attire for the place, and make it fun with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true.
I think being in person is very important.
Yeah, good.
Agreed.
No, I would tend to go that way as well, but certainly happy to listen to any other thoughts. Yeah, and I think you know, I mean, ultimately we're looking to flatten the curve. You know, there's going to be we're going to have significant problems if we're not seeing the curve begin to flatten in, you know, 15 days. I mean, we should. Right now it's almost vertical. So
Bill, when I did the sponsorship, I had ordered 300 hand sanitizer, which was before any of this came out. So
wow.
they actually came in, and I'm like, I believe they were shipped to our headquarters, but I don't know. I thought that was kind of an entertaining
Oh
thought
my
right now, and maybe I should be passing them out to other sources, but right now they've been shipped to our head office for the event.
Well, thank you. Yeah, if you need them for customers, please don't hesitate.
No, we're not seeing anybody. No.
Well, there you go. There you go. Yeah.
That's a hot commodity around.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Cool. Well, yeah, any other thoughts or comments or questions? Well, we'll.
Hey, well, hey,
Sorry, go
Bill,
ahead.
try.
Yeah.
On the voting, did you see? I know like some people do a really good job of the self-promotion. Could you tell a trend of that again, or was it?
Yeah. So, yeah, and thank you, Ryan, for bringing that up. So, yeah, and not everybody's sort of familiar, in detail with the awards. So, let me separate the awards out into two groups. So, we have the judged awards, and we have the community voting awards. There are the same categories. So, judged is only the entrepreneurs, which has 5 subcategories, the ventures, which has 2 subcategories, and the community builders. Those same exact categories exist in the community voting, plus there are several ecosystem related categories such as best spaces and best programs, education, economic development, et cetera. And the judged, obviously is, we have out-of-state judges, again, people that don't know any of the finalists, and they judge all of these people based on criteria. The judged winners get a perpetual trophy plus a trophy or a plaque that they keep, or a framed certificate, I guess. And so this year, thanks to Ryan's work, we're going to have a majority of the past winners will be there on site to hand their perpetual trophy, like the Stanley Cup, to the next generation. So good part of legacy. And then with the community awards, that's all done by community voting. So judged obviously is weighed, against some solid criteria, and it's meant to be more of ideally a strong litmus of, sort of efficacy in terms of who we're selecting. The community is simply a measurement of whether it's network size or popularity or whatever. It's still valuable and important. And yeah, this year's voting, I think we had just shy of 10,000 votes in total. I may be, it's somewhere in that range. Yeah, no, it's a strong year for community voting. And like every year, there are people that, just have super strong networks, and, they tend to race out in front and dominate their categories. A lot of the categories had, sort of 2, 3, 4 really strong, strong and popular folks. But yeah, no, it's always fun to see too, because like the first week, the voting just goes crazy, and then it, you see little blips and all that as people tap into different networks. So did that answer what you're hoping, Ryan? You're on mute, Ryan. There you go. Oh, Ryan.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now I can. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I figured there'd be some strong people that do that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good question for sure. Other comments, questions? Well, assuming there are none, and certainly feel free to reach out to me directly on anything as well. I would, we'll keep you informed as we know more. At this point, we'll have an email out probably this week, generally announcing and we've already announced a save the date for June 8th, but re-announcing the plan, and also the Lifetime Achievement Award winners. We're just waiting for a bio and headshot from one of them that's kind of delaying us, but we'll get that out, and then we'll just, certainly any questions, feed them to us, and we'll keep you informed as we go forward. But certainly we're optimistic about June 8th, and we'll keep pushing hard to that. I mean, the good news is the plan works if we push to July or to August. So, and as Annette said, we can always change the dress code, which sounds like a lot more fun anyway. So with that, wish you all a good evening. Stay safe, stay healthy, and please let us know any way that we can be of assistance.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Have a great evening.